Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, here to discuss the beginning of the 2020 NFL free agency period for the Tennessee Titans, and what a start to the 2020 free agency period it has been, as we have had a number of headlines in just the past 48 hours. I wanted to hold out until Thursday to go live for Tighten Up Thursdays to discuss all of this, but I said, let's just go ahead and do it. I feel like we've gotten most of the headlines. To be honest with you, I think we're going to see some more signings, but maybe not the one signing we'd love to see. I really do believe that. We're going to discuss a lot of stuff today, so let's go ahead and get into it. And let's go ahead and start with the biggest headline now, which is the most relevant headline now. I know that the Ryan Tannehill thing was probably bigger news overall, but right now, it is the Tennessee Titans trading away defensive end Jurrell Casey to the Denver Broncos for, wait for it, a 7th-round pick. Now, your boy came on this channel just 1 month ago. Just 1 month ago, he came on this channel. And he told you all a scenario that no one was really considering. And that was Jurrell Casey potentially being cut from this football team. Now, I did say I did not think it was going to happen. Okay, I'll grant that. But I told you it was a possibility. I also told you almost 3 years ago now, actually. Was it 2 or 3? I want to say 3. Why did the Tennessee Titans extend Jurrell Casey to this contract? This contract does not make sense to me long term. So at the time, and let me pull up the numbers on the exact deal, but I remember this, and it's the problem of the contract now, that the last 3 years of the deal were $13 million each. And I was like, why did they do this extension? Look, at the time, I loved Jurrell Casey, and the extension was a 4-year, $60 million extension. This came in July of 2017. Okay, and this was adding 4 years on top of the 1 year he already had left on the deal. So he was going to be on the books for 5 seasons. 2017, 18, 19, 20, 2021. Oh, and 2022. This actually was 4 years beyond the 2 years he had left on his deal. So this was a commitment to Jurrell Casey for 6 years. And I was like, are we sure we want to do all that? That was a lot to ask. But I loved Jurrell Casey at the time, and that was at his peak. Okay, that was at his peak. So I understood why we wanted to extend him. I did not understand at the time, but we extended him 2 seasons out, 2 off seasons out, and that we just still thought, because you always have to think ahead, but you still thought that this dude that was drafted in 2011, okay, was still going to be great in 2020, 2021, and 2022. You might need to slow your roll on that one, bud. The extension didn't make sense to me at the time. And now this is what happens. Now a decision had to be made. But did it have to be made, right? Ultimately, did we really have to trade away Jurrell Casey for nothing? Because a 7th-round pick is nothing. And to me, even though I'm ultimately sitting here and I guess I'm defending this, no, I'm not a fan over this overall. And the one thing I was saying on Twitter was, you know what? I would be a fan if I think we're going to go out and we're going to make a big move for a Jadeveon Clowney, a big trade or something. I honestly don't think that's coming. After looking at the cap, even after this move, we have roughly, if you include the draft capital that we'll likely have, I mean, maybe, who knows, maybe we'll trade one of those picks for a big splashy trade. But if you still account for how much money we need for the draft, okay, We only have about $25 million in cap, and you can still do a lot with that. You can still get in a Jadeveon Clowney. You can still get in a Jadeveon Clowney or a Jadeveon Clowney because he is the only big free agent out there. Or what you could do is you could say, okay, let's give some to Logan Ryan. Let's sprinkle in a little Emmanuel Sanders. Let's sprinkle in, insert name here. And maybe we're going to do that because guess what? Now we need a starting defensive end. So you better have one in the pipeline, and we just drafted one. So I saw a lot of people saying, well, this is going to allow Jeffrey Simmons to get more playing time. That might be the biggest load of nonsense I think I've heard in my life. You do not want Jeffrey Simmons to be the only impactful member on this defensive line. Okay, that's ridiculous. What kind of logic is that? That makes no sense to me. Yeah, he'll get more playing time. First of all, he's going to be out there for at least 80% of the snaps next year anyway. He's going to get plenty of playing time. Now it's going to go up to over 90%. He's going to get every single, even Casey wasn't getting over 90%. They're defensive linemen, for God's sake. So Simmons doesn't need to be out there for 90% of the snaps anyway. Even if he's an absolute total 100% beast, he's not Aaron Donald. He doesn't need to be out there for 95% of the snaps anyway. You need him to have help on the D-line. And I know everyone loves Daquan Jones, but wait a minute. So we cut Jurrell Casey to save $10 million in cap. Jurrell Casey. But we keep Daquan Jones for $7? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Pause. Time out. We got to take a timeout. You're cutting Casey for 10, but you're keeping Daquan Jones for 7. No, I got a problem with that. Oh, I got a big problem with that. And this is a guy that was very critical of Jurrell Casey this season. Not saying he stinks, not saying that he's a bad player, but that he's regressed, that he's no longer as impactful as he once was. He had a great playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens and was very integral to the win against the Baltimore Ravens. But overall this season, not being the Jurrell Casey we once knew and loved. But you can't tell me this. You can't tell me that you'd rather have Daquan Jones for 7 than Jurrell Casey for 10. That's ridiculous. And when I sat here and I told you who should be cut, I told you Daquan Jones. Because every single day of the week, I'm cutting Daquan Jones for 7 before I cut Jurrell Casey for 10. Daquan Jones, look, he's all right. He's a good run stuffer. I don't see the impact that everyone else sees. I don't see it, and I definitely don't see the damn leadership in the locker room, the locker room character and presence that he has that we know Jurrell Casey's had for a decade. For a decade. Almost. So that doesn't make sense. So we're sitting here now. If you include the draft, you need to include the draft. And maybe we'll trade a first-round pick for Jalen Ramsey. And then we won't have to include the draft. And then that's what we are gearing up for. But until I see that, I'm just looking at the free agents and the potential free agents we might get. And Clowney's still on the table. Because Clowney is not getting what he thinks he's going to get. He's not getting $20+ million. That's no longer on the table. If Clowney was getting $20+ million, he would have already got $20+ million. He would already be signed somewhere today. He's not. And the reason he's not is because he wants $20+ million and no one wants to give him that. He's looking at about 17 right now. I was signing for 17. I was signing Jadeveon Clowney for 17. But one of the biggest reasons I wanted Clowney is because I wanted Clowney to take some pressure off of Jurrell Casey. Because the idea was you put Jadeveon Clowney on the defensive line or in the linebacker core. Then he alleviates pressure from Casey. Casey alleviates pressure from Simmons. And they all alleviate pressure from Aaron Landry. That every one of those 4 men were going to alleviate pressure from. That was going to be a foursome that was going to be formidable, was going to cause a problem. Now, if you get Clowney now, Clowney is less valuable now. Clowney was extremely valuable as a run-stuffing and also pass-rushing entity. An athletic beast and stud who could supplement Jurrell Casey, the aging, more finesse guy. That was the argument. And the argument is now gone. So now I kind of don't want Clowney. Because now, to me, with the setup of this team that we now have, and look, Clowney can play 3-4 defensive ends, so we can also consider that. Maybe they want to play 3-4 defensive end. They had him doing a lot of that for Houston, and they had some success there. So maybe that's what they're angling for. Maybe he's going to be a hybrid again. That's kind of what he did in Houston. Vrabel was in Houston. Not worth it to me if the trade was in their heads, let's get rid of Clowney for this $10 million and let's get Clowney for 17. That doesn't make sense to me. I wanted to have them both. You could have afforded both. If you would have cut this Daquan Jones, but they kept this Daquan Jones, who everyone loves. Look, you should have cut Daquan Jones. You should have signed the nose tackle down the street. You should have told Angelo Blackson to pull up his drawers and get out there. You should have told Isaiah Mack. You should have told, I don't care who you told. You should have told somebody to come in there and just play a little nose tackle. But to me, I think we went the wrong route here. I don't think it's going to be the biggest deal in the world now. I don't think this is even going to hurt our... It could hurt our win-loss total, but if it does, it's going to be by a game or two. It's not the biggest deal in the world, and we're going to sign some people. It might not be Clowney, but I think if we don't get Clowney, I still think the Logan Ryan return is still very much on the table. I raise my eyebrow, and I look at maybe they want to get like a little Emmanuel Sanders. Let me pull up the free agent list real quick. Maybe they want to add in a little, they want to get involved in the Everson Griffin sweepstakes. They're not even really sweepstakes, but you know, they want to get involved for Everson Griffin. Maybe there's something or a couple free agents they're identifying and they're saying, well, you know, we'd rather just have these 2 or 3 players than one Jurrell Casey, or probably 2 players, than one Jurrell Casey. So instead of getting Jurrell Casey, let's just get a little Emmanuel Sanders, and let's just get a little Mackenzie Alexander. Or let's just get a little Nigel Bradham or something. I don't know if I'd get Nigel Bradham. But let's get a Marcel Darius. Hey, Marcel Darius and a little, Nelson Aguilar. God forbid. But maybe they're just trying to try to, just do a little switcheroo, little GameStop shuffle and trade in here. I don't know. I loved it, but I don't hate it. I think as long as we just see who they get, because now we have an opening and a huge need on the defensive line. Like, we need a defensive end now. A presence is gone. And Daquan Jones without Casey is going to be a problem. And if Simmons gets hurt, that's it. There goes our defensive line. We have no defensive line. The defensive line is gone. Okay, it is gone. There's nothing you can do about it. It's a problem. And our pass rush is already not as good as it is. So with that said, let's get into this. The signing that we did make. So this is the one free agent we went on to the market and we signed. I'm going to sound like a negative Nancy a little bit today. Oh, great. Here we go. Vic Beasley. Okay, so the Titans went out and they got Vic Beasley from the Atlanta Falcons, a 1-year, $9.5 million deal. A deal that could go as high as $12 million if he hits some incentives. Not a big fan of this. Now, it's also not the worst thing in the world. Wanted better than this. Vic Beasley is not very good at all. Okay? He ended up with 8 sacks this past year, and I'm pretty sure he had 4 sacks in his last 4 games. This is a guy that just does not beat his man and is just not impactful against the run at all. Like, the 2 simple things you need to do as an outside linebacker in this league, he does not do. And everyone references this, okay? So they reference his 15.5 sack season that he had in 2016, and that is an impressive number. For you to have 15.5 sacks in any given season, that is an impressive number. Do not get me wrong. But there are some shady things about that year. Number 1, that is his only double-digit sack season. Okay? Number 2, tell me this is not shady. If you get 15.5 sacks and you get only 16 quarterback hits, that's shady. You should be hitting the quarterback significantly more than you're sacking him. That's pretty shady. You look at, although he led the league in sacks that year, his ability to beat his own man and cause pressure, he was only about 42nd in the league at that. It was a fluke. Okay, it was a fluke. Point blank, period. It was a fluky year. Point blank, period. If you get 15.5 sacks and 16 quarterback hits, and that was the 1 out of 5 years you got double-digit sack, fluke. Okay, it's a fluke. Point blank period, it's a fluke. Now, can he get after the quarterback? Can he get some sacks? Sure. Okay, he's going to provide that. Is he good in coverage? No. What is he good at? I don't know. I can't tell you what he's good at. But he's going to get some sacks. Like, he's going to come down with some sacks. I saw some people say this is our Brian Arakpo. No. I wish this was a Brian Arakpo. Brian Arakpo was a consistent pass rusher in this league. He was never going to be, and he even had some very good seasons, even a Pro Bowl season, I want to say. But very consistent. You knew what you were going to get from Brian Arakpo snap to snap. Pretty much you knew what you were going to get. You don't know what you're going to get from Vic Beasley every now and then. So the hope with this, I'll be okay with this, though. If Harold Landry ends up being a Pro Bowler, I'll be okay with this. And he could. In his own merit, he could be headed there. I think he's headed there. With that, as Vic Beasley as a number 2, it's fine. It's fine. Is it great? No. Okay, and in a defense where the secondary isn't great and the defensive line is now certainly not great, I don't know how our defense is shaping up to be better than last year, which is a problem because ultimately the defense let us down in that AFC Championship game. And the offense was as good as it could get. You know, in the playoffs it certainly wasn't, but it was as good as it could get at the end of the season last year. Defense certainly was not. How is this defense going to take the next step? How is this defense going to help us and be able to show up in the playoffs when we need them to? How? Vic Beasley ain't going to be the reason why. Now, as a number 2 guy, because now he's truly going to be a number 2 guy because in Atlanta they've been playing Takaris McKinley, and when he started out they still had Dwight Freeney actually when Vic Beasley got drafted. And he's been the number 1 guy, I guess, for the most part. I mean, even games he hasn't started, he's even come off the bench. But, you know, now as a true number 2 to Harold Landry, is he going to start to find some success consistently? We'll have to see on that. I just think if you're expecting anything more than a very frustrating and inconsistent pass rusher here, I think you have to be disappointed. Now, some people want to bring up that, hey, we can rehabilitate him. He still has a lot of, potential associated with him. You know, it's just a one-year flyer, and fine. I'd be okay with it. But now we have Jurrell. Look, Jurrell Casey's better than Vic Beasley. We got worse defensively today. Vic Beasley is worse than Jurrell Casey. We got worse defensively today. Okay, and that's something I really can't get excited about. And yeah, look at his quarterback hits. His quarterback hits go 5, goes 16, okay, then it goes 5, it goes 8, it goes 12. Like, this is not a consistent pass rush, and he only started half the games in 2017 and 2018. He hasn't even been a consistent starter for the Atlanta Falcons. He's had years to finally ascend to being that role. For the money we gave him, it wasn't horrible. This isn't much more money than Cameron Wake. I don't really care about the money. I care about, with the money, it indicates to me that we're saying, okay, this is our number 2 pass rusher. And in a defense where we have a great secondary, fine. In a defense where we have a great defensive line, fine. We don't have either one of those right now. And I don't know if we're going to shove out the money for that because now, here's the thing. I was just talking about Clowney. I'd still, like I said, I'm not really that down for Clowney anymore. But if we get Clowney, then you're reducing Vic Beasley to nothing because although you use your third pass rusher, you're going to put Clowney out there, at least 80% of the time. You're putting Harold Landry out there at least 80% of the time. I don't know what Vic Beasley is doing out there in a defense where the inside linebackers like Rashawn Evans and Jaron Brown rush the passer consistently as well. We rush from the secondary as well. Vic Beasley's not going to see snaps. So if you're paying him this much money, you're probably going to make him your number 2 and say, okay, he's our number 2. And maybe you'll bring back a Camilo Correa, and then we just go into the season, and I'm not feeling great about our defense. So again, we're probably going to have to rely on our offense this upcoming season. But we're going to see some sacks from him. If you want a prediction right now, I think we'll see 7 sacks from him. Yeah, we'll see some 7 sacks from Vic Beasley. It could also be a disaster. Or you could also have a really, another fluky type year. Or maybe, okay, this is the one scenario, maybe. We actually teach him how to rush the pass rusher consistently, or how to rush the passer consistently, how to improve his fundamentals. We'll see. I'm just not optimistic about it. And come on, think about this. Come on now. This was a Rustin Webster move. And you know it. Think about it for a second. You know how many times Rustin Webster we had to look and say, the guy's athletic and he may be able to come in here and it's a one-year flyer. I mean, how many times under Rustin Webster did we have to say that in free agency? So this is what it just feels like a Rustin Webster. We'll see what happens. I would have been much more down for Everson Griffin. I would have been a little more down for Dante Fowler. Fowler, I think, got a little overpaid, but hey, and he's definitely been inconsistent in his career. So I wouldn't have loved Fowler either. But I would have loved Everson Griffin. Honestly, Everson Griffin was the move to me. I don't know why we did not get involved in the Everson Griffin talks and discussions. Luckily, we didn't go at Leonard Floyd because Leonard Floyd got paid as much as Beasley. But hey, at least Floyd is still, on the up and up. Beasley is flat at this point. So, we'll see. Okay, we'll see. But that's just the case. So with that said, we do move to more positive discussions, okay? We have 2 Titans, 3 actually, that are returning to the team. We begin with quarterback Ryan Tannehill. 4 years, $118 million. I think I had it at 4 years, 128. I think I had it at, I need to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure that's what I had it at. Or did I have it at, yeah, that should be. I expected this. We talked about this for the past month. They're going to re-sign Tannehill. They're going to franchise tag Derrick Henry. Do I like the deal? I really like the deal, especially how you look at how it's broken down. That 2 years is going to be pretty much guaranteed in the backloading of the deal. You can get out. You can get out of the deal if you need to. That was the move. That was the way to structure it. That's how they structured it. It's good to have Ryan Tannehill back in Tennessee. There's not really much to talk about because we expected it. And same thing with the Derrick Henry thing. Derrick Henry, franchise tag. We'll see if he'll hold out. I'm sure he will. We'll see how long he does. We'll worry about that later. There's going to be plenty of time to discuss that. But these are 2 things that we really expected. This is not shocking here. We talked extensively about the number. The number's about what we thought it was going to be. We talked extensively about the extension at this point. The extension is what we thought it was going to be. It got extended. That's what they had to do, $29.5 million. I'll say this, actually. It is actually a pretty good deal when you look relatively now that Brady got paid what he got paid. Phillip Rivers got paid $25 million for this 1 year. Teddy Bridgewater got paid $21 million over the course of 3 years on average. So it actually looks pretty good. It's not even going to be a top 10 quarterback deal soon enough. So money-wise, it's actually a good deal, and we'll see what Tannehill's able to do this season and probably the season after that. So let's get to him, shall we? All right, so Marcus Mariota. All right, this might be the last Marcus Mariota discussion on this channel, like a true blocked discussion. I'm sure I'll mention him from time to time. So you Marcus Mariota haters, don't worry. We have to talk about it. We have to. We'll get it out of the way. All right, Marcus Mariota is going to the Las Vegas Raiders. I almost said Oakland Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders, 1 year deal. We do not know the amount of money on this deal yet. How do I feel about this? Everyone wants to know. All right. I don't like it. I don't like it. Now, I don't hate it. But, man, I just wanted him to go to a successful franchise, and the Oakland Raiders are not that. Okay? Now, he is actually a decent fit. Maybe even a pretty good fit for their system. Okay, this is a system in which Derek Carr is asked to make a lot of West Coast type throws, a lot of short throws, a lot of slants, a lot of check downs, to be able to extend the play, throw a lot of posts, corners, etc., to stay in the pocket. So I don't know if they're going to use Mariota outside of the pocket the way I would like to see him used outside of the pocket and moving him around. But with Derek Carr can have a 70% completion percentage of the offense, so can Marcus Mariota. I love that. Oh, I love that. Here's the thing. If you ask me, is John Gruden going to be a head coach in this league in 3 years? Nope. So, Mariota has gone to a team where the head coach will no longer be there in 3 years, and I am almost putting my life on that. This John Gruden thing is a disaster, and I know they were slightly improved for like a second and a half this year. They ended up being 7-9. I just don't. It's a damn disaster. I like Mike Mayock, but it's just a clown show over there, man. So he's gone to a franchise that has a due date. A date in which they're no longer gonna be having their head coach and probably their GM. That's just the way I see it. It's just that it's nonsense over there in Oakland. And no one survives Oakland, man. Who survives Oakland? Carson Palmer went there for a year, stunk, had to go to Arizona to finally have a decent ending to his career. Don't even get me started on, I mean, they didn't really ruin Terrell Pryor's career, but, the Terrell Pryor nonsense and, Hugh Jackson was only head coach there for one bloody season. Oakland is just a mess. I don't want to see him in Oakland, man. I know we didn't want to compete against him. I wanted to see him in New England. I did. I low-key did not want to beat New England. I want to beat him if we face him. But I thought Bill Belichick was going to look at him, and I don't know what Bill Belichick's doing right now. That guy's just sitting on his hands doing absolutely nothing. He signed some clown, Damiere Byrd, who might be good. I don't know who that is. I just occasionally would see him on Red Zone for the Arizona Cardinals. That's all he's done. So I don't know what Bill Belichick's doing, but I thought that was the move, absolutely. I'm shocked they didn't pick up the phone and call him. Or maybe they did. I don't think they did because this signing came like that Monday night. Like this signing came pretty much when that moratorium negotiating period began. Mariota went straight to Las Vegas. That's where you wanted to be. And honestly, look, I'll tell you this. I'm the Mariota apologist. I don't think he's better than Derek Carr. I don't think he's worse. I think they're the same level. I think any given year, Carr could be better. Any given year, Mariota could be better. I think there's almost no difference between the two in terms of their ability to go out there and throw the football consistently. Just 1 year, one's going to be better. 1 year, the other's going to be better. And that's it. And that's just it. So I don't think he's just going to go in there and just beat him out for the job. Now, if Carr gets hurt, okay, they're going to put in Mariota, and if they have a bad enough record, they'll stick with Mariota if Mariota has success. But I don't think Mariota just walking into training camp there, throwing around the rock and just going to outthrow Derek Carr. I don't think he's going to outstudy Derek Carr. He's going to do everything he can, and it's going to be very close. I don't think it's clear. I don't know why he went there. I guess it's like a Teddy Bridgewater type move there. Let me just go there and see what happens. Oh, I think Bridgewater was traded to New Orleans, so Bridgewater didn't even pick New Orleans. He just was traded. He didn't have a choice. So I don't get it. I'm shocked. If I was Mariota, I would have. Okay, outside of New England, who else? I would have pulled the Bridgewater and see if I can get to New Orleans. Although they're trying to groom this clown Taysom Hill. Maybe go follow Brady to the Buccaneers and be a backup for Tampa Bay. Learn a lot from Bruce Arians and Tom Brady and Tom Moore, who's also there, the former offensive coordinator for Peyton Manning. I thought there were better moves to make. I don't know why he went to Las Vegas. But let me tell you this. If Mariota gets in that game, boy, woo, the fan base is going to be rocking for our boy. I hope he can treat him well. There will be some Mariota madness. And Mariota gets in that game, boy, and he throws around that rock. Okay? He throws around that rock because, let's face it, there's a high Hispanic community over there. There's a high minority community over there. They're going to rally around Mariota before Derek Carr, and that's just the truth. Mariota's not Hispanic. A lot of people think he is. Hispanics think they look like him. A lot of them like him. I know a lot of Hispanics that love Marcus Mariota. That's just the truth. They are going to rally around Mariota. It is going to be some fandom, some fanfare. And Derek Carr was also out west in college, but Mariota was way more popular out west than Derek Carr in college. Derek Carr was at Fresno State doing, okay, winning the MAC conference. Whereas Mariota was leading the Oregon Ducks to the national championship game. So, if Mariota can just get in that game, boy, and just throw it around that rock a little bit, make some plays, throw some touchdowns to himself, make some big-time plays, a big-time impact, the fan base is going to rally around him, and he might do damn well out there. So, I'm not saying it's a wrap for him yet, and I think even if things don't go well in Oakland or Las Vegas, wherever the hell, I might have said Oakland plenty of times at this point, I think he'll have one more stop. And he needs to pick carefully now on that stop. Because if I was him, there's no way I was going to no Las Vegas, no Oakland. There was no way I was joining the Raider organization. I would rather go to Tampa Bay, be back up to Brady. I'd rather stay in Tennessee. I'd rather go to Miami. I'd rather do plenty of things before I go to the mess known as the Oakland Raiders, that organization. That is a horrible organization. So, anyway. And someone correct me in the chat, Fresno State is Mountain West, not MAC. All right, thank you for that. So with that said, some other Titans have left. Oh, and actually I missed one. Dennis Kelly. So Dennis Kelly is re-signed 3 years, $21 million. And that is very interesting. This is now our new right tackle. So we get Dennis Kelly for half the price of Jack Conklin. And we'll go ahead and add Jack Conklin to this part of the discussion, who was signed to the Cleveland Browns for 3 years, $42 million. So we get Dennis Kelly for half price of Jack Conklin. Now, I like this. Okay, I've been very negative today, but Dennis Kelly for half price of Jack Conklin is a W. That is a W. That is a W for John Robinson. That is more value. We're getting more value there. Love that. Although if you would have asked me, I would have probably re-signed Jack Conklin. But knowing the numbers that I know them now, we made the right decision. I think Dennis Kelly for half the price of Jack Conklin is the right decision. Now, with the cutting of Jurrell Casey, it doesn't make that much sense. But hey, it's still the right decision. You're getting more value out of Dennis Kelly. Dennis Kelly at times is better than Jack Conklin. He's not better overall. I've seen some people say he's better overall now. He might have some better games. Sure, he's not better overall. Let's stop. But he's definitely not younger. Definitely doesn't have the potential that Jack Conklin has. But for half price, that's a great deal for half price. Right tackle is now checked off. And you look at this offense, we have a lot of positions that are checked off. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that, okay, we have every position checked off. Let's go ahead and move on to the defense. And we have a lot of defensive needs, especially now that we have released Jurrell Casey, or traded Jurrell Casey. Right guard is not filled. Stop it. Right guard is not filled. Okay? Don't get yourself caught in that trap now, boy. Don't get yourself caught in that trap. Center ain't filled neither. Okay? This is what happens every single year. Y'all keep making the same mistake. This is why you come to this channel. At least I hope you do. Because I look ahead, baby. Okay? You gotta look ahead. Don't look at this second. Look ahead. Nate Davis right now stinks. Now, he did a little better at the end of the year, but for this moment, he stinks. Just as Jeremiah Putasi stunk, just as, who was that clown? Chance Warmack stunk. He stinks just as much as those two stunk. And until he can prove that he's better than them, we have a need at right guard. Now, I'm not saying we need to go out and we need to get one first round. I'm not saying that. He stinks just as much as Chance Warmack and Jeremiah Putasi stunk. And if you think that need is just filled and you can just ignore that, no, it's going to be a problem next year. You're going to say, well, damn, now we need a right guard. So if you go to the 3rd, 4th round and there's a right guard that you like, you take him. You take him. And then Ben Jones next year, you cut him, they'll save $6-7 million next year cutting Ben Jones. Ben Jones on the chopping block next year. You better be looking for a little center too in the 6-7 round. You better be looking for a little center. You better be pushing, what's his name out of UTC on the bench to get ready to go in and play. When one of those two get injured and go prove himself. There are always needs you need to be looking out for ahead of time. Corey Davis, upcoming free agent next year. Upcoming free agent that we're going to re-sign him. We're letting people go out here. We're trading Jurrell Casey out here. We're going to re-sign Corey Davis for $11-12 million that he's going to get in the open market. Wide receiver could be a need. If you're sitting there in the 1st round and you see one of these talented wide receivers sitting on there, look, I don't know where these guys are getting slotted. I'm just doing my draft research now. Laviska Shenault. I don't know. I've seen him around us. If you think that Laviska Shenault is good, you take him. Because all of a sudden you're going to look and you're going to say, hey, look at that. Corey Davis is gone. Need a wide receiver because although I like Adam Humphries, he ain't no number 2. And he wasn't even healthy this year. Ain't no number 2. You better get yourself a number 2 wide receiver immediately. Always be looking ahead to the next move. This is why I told you all that Casey was potential to be cut. That's why I tell you next year Butler's going to be cut. Jones could be cut. I'm 2-3 years ahead of this game, baby. Don't you worry about me. So, anyway, with that said, goodbye to Jack Conklin. He's going to Cleveland. And let me tell you this right now. If Jack Conklin stinks in Cleveland, I don't want to hear people say, look, we were right. We were right to let go of Conklin. Although I think we ended with a better deal, don't get me wrong. But we already knew what Conklin looked like here. Look, there are sometimes, like, look at Andy Levitre. Andy Levitre was great for the Bills, came here, stunk, and then went to the Falcons and was good. Now, he wasn't the money or worth the money that we gave him. But there are players, especially offensive linemen, that just more tailored to systems, more tailored for different teams. So if Conklin goes there and stinks, I don't want to hear people saying, okay, you see that proves it, Conklin stinks. It doesn't work that way. Different schemes, different, and Cleveland's a damn disaster. Look, Odell Beckham isn't performing in Cleveland. So I don't want to hear if Conklin isn't doing well in Cleveland that all of a sudden, okay, Conklin's not good. Let's not cap on that. So with that said, have I hit all the headlines? Yeah, those are the headlines. Okay, so tomorrow I might come back for a live stream in which we look at some potential more free agent signings, or I might not. It depends if there's any news that comes out, because I don't think I want to do just that, but I might. So just look out for that, and we'll see what happens. But quickly, I'll go to the chat. I'll answer any questions you guys have at Sports Fan Entertainment, at me in the chat. We'll answer some questions, then we'll get out of here. And, by the way, I will be live right after this to discuss some NFL moves. And that will be fun in terms of, like, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater. So I'll have a live stream right after this one discussing all of that. So add me in the chat if you have any questions at Sports Fan Entertainment. We had Jurrell Ross, who said, hi, Sports Fan Entertainment. I'm a Broncos fan. Thanks for Jurrell Casey. And he's going to do well for you guys, especially, this is a defensive line you guys have up there in Denver where you've been drafting guys like Adam Gotsis, hoping that he could come in and do well on your defensive line. You have the tandem of Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. So, this is going to be a nice addition here for your team, for your defense. And as long as the offense can be there next year, I have my eyes out on the Denver Broncos as being a playoff team in 2020. So definitely going to be interesting. He will be a great addition to that team and a veteran presence that they really do need on that defense. Okay, so said Gilmore 1104 said, as Sports Fan Entertainment, where do you think Clowney is going? If you ask me right now, I think he's going back to Seattle. I think Seattle has an offer on the table that Clowney does not want to take, but the market is not going the way he would like for it to. I think he's going to settle on that offer and return to Seattle, and I think they're going to pay him $16 million a year. I don't think it's going to be the $20 million a lot of people had anticipated. The market just isn't there. People are, caught up to the fact that, look, although I still argue an elite defensive end in this league, you're not necessarily an elite pass rusher. We're not going to pay you just for that. So I would expect for it to be $16 million and for him to return to Seattle. That's my prediction right now. And the Clowney speculation is just literally speculation. Like, we have no idea. There's not a rumor, not a real legitimate rumor out there that the Tennessee Titans are even interested in this guy. That they've even picked up the phone and talked to this guy. It was cool back in the good old days. Maybe not the good old days. But when Rustin Webster was GM and Jim Wyatt wasn't working for the actual damn team, we had some rumors, right? Hey, but now we have no rumors. We have no rumors, and we just sit back and hope things happen. And that's all we just speculate. There's no people called a Jadeveon Clowney watch. There's no watch. We're not watching anything. Well, all we're doing is watching the Twitter feed, just refreshing for nothing. There's no reports. There's no rumors of nothing. We're just connecting dots like a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists. That's all we're doing here in Tennessee. But we're going to continue to do it. All right. King Liza says, at Sports for Entertainment, is our defense almost there for top in the league? No. I don't think our defense is better today than it was yesterday. Am I the only one wrong on that? Vic Beasley for Jurrell Casey. That's what happened today in the past 24 hours. That's what happened. Vic Beasley for Jurrell Casey. That's not better. And we have some ascending players for our defense, like Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry, and that's it. Adoree Jackson's not even ascending at this point. He's kind of gotten flat. It's a good flat. He's a good player. But he hasn't been the ascending player we thought he once was. Maybe he can find that. I've seen plenty of players take leaps in their 4th, 5th, 6th seasons. Don't get me wrong. But I don't see any reason to believe our defense is going to be elite next year. In fact, think about this. So without Casey, maybe Harold Landry could end up being a lead. Maybe we'll see about that. Maybe a George Jackson could too, but we only have one true elite player on our defense, and that's Kevin Byard. Casey, you can still argue. He definitely did not play elite last year, but you could still say Jurrell Casey's an elite defensive end, and I would have agreed with you generally. But now we only have one. We have Kevin Byard, and that's it. And we hope that Harold Landry can become that this season. And I would bet that he would. Elite's maybe a stretch, but I would probably bet that he would. But it's a bet. Right now we're betting on that, and I'm not sure how comfortable I feel betting on that. All right. Steelers fan had a question about the Texans trade. I'll be live probably in like 10 minutes to discuss that, so just wait for my thoughts on that. Justin Duffy said, do you think we overpaid Tannehill? Also, do you think the Casey trade could potentially open up room to re-sign Derrick Henry before the season? By the way, love your videos. Thanks for the love. Here's the thing. It could be opening up for a move like Clowney. But this idea that this move was to free up money for Derrick Henry and his extension is just hopefully not true, because if that's true, then they're mismanaging the cap. Right now, Derrick Henry's cap hit is going to be about $10.5 million for this season. Cutting Jurrell Casey, and he was already under, okay? You already fit Derrick Henry and Jurrell Casey under that, okay? They're already under that comfortably under that. They're fine. The Henry extension, okay, at best he's getting 15, and he's not getting 15 per year. So you're talking about a difference of $3-4 million, but because you're probably going to get him $13-14 million per year. And we've been doing this with our signings this all season. You don't have to have the cap hit be the same year one as throughout the contract. You can make it to where that first year is only $10 million, and then the cap hit becomes, $15 million next year, $16 million year after that, $17 million year after that. So it's not for a Henry extension. Now, if you would have cut Jurrell Casey next year, okay, that would have been for a Derrick Henry extension. But you only cut Jurrell Casey this year if you're trying to open up room for it this year. Because it was only this year where you could still cut him and have some dead money attributed to him. So you're opening up room to make moves for this year, because we had already fit everyone under the cap. Everyone was already under the cap, and that was even including Vic Beasley. So we are opening up room for something. Is it either one player like Jadeveon Clowney, a trade target like Jalen Ramsey, or is it instead just a couple? Is it a Logan Ryan and a insert name here, right? There's two players, maybe three little players, maybe a re-sign in two players like a Tajay Sharp and two other players. I can't say. I think it's probably number two. I don't think we're getting Clowney. I don't think we're making a splash. I'd love to see it. I don't think that's the case. I think we're just opening room to make a little comfortable moves, a little mid-level moves, and just see where that takes us. And as long as I like those little moves, I'll be okay with it. I still won't love it because you could have just cut Daquan Jones instead, but I'll be okay with it. So Jesse Lendy, we're going to end on his question. He says, as sports for entertainment, what do you expect from the Titans? I assume he's asking for this upcoming season. Are you wanting to compete for a Super Bowl or just win the division? I want to win a Super Bowl. And with what the Houston Texans are doing over there, they're not really, they're still going to win games with Deshaun Watson. He bails them out enough. But they are not improving. At the very least, I think we can all improve at least we can all agree that the Houston Texans are not improving. But I want to win a Super Bowl, man. Now, I'm not going to say that we have a Super Bowl lineup right now. Are we better today than we were when this offseason began? No. Because the only thing we've done is we signed Vic Beasley and we let go of Jurrell Casey. That is not improving anything. And we re-signed 3 players. Great. At worst case, we're equal as last year, but we're worse. Because, again, that Beasley for Casey, they would offer us that trade in Atlanta. There's no way we take that trade. I hope. So, we're worse. It was expected, I guess. But there's also some factors that you need to consider. Number one being John Robinson and his ability to draft. Okay, that is where we've made our money, man. A.J. Brown and the influx that he provided this team, he was a draft pick. Jeffrey Simmons, draft pick. We draft well. That's how we built what we built. So until I see the draft, I can't say. For right now, I do not think we'll beat the Kansas City Chiefs who are playing tomorrow. Luckily, we're not playing tomorrow. So with that said, that's going to do it for this live stream. And again, I might be live again tomorrow if we make a move or if I just feel like it, and we'll do Tighten Up Thursdays. But until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment. I'm out. See you all later.